What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I got a special unboxing for you today. We managed to defeat the final boss, as they say. Let's take a look at this pair, get right into it. You don't want to miss this one. As you can see, you have your not so standard Air Jordan 1 box. Now, typically the box is black and red. I think most people know that already. But this one is adorned with the colors and theme of the shoe contained inside. Of course, those colors are sail and olive green. Also noticeably absent from this particular release because the Jordan 6 boxes had Cactus Jack smiley faces and all types of little tidbits on them. There are no other indicators that there's a Cactus Jack shoe inside this box other than the colorway itself. Size tag reads Women's Air Jordan 1 Low OG SP, Sail, University Red and Black. Flipping up the lid to reveal the wax paper underneath, and now you get that co-branding between Travis Scott and Nike and Jordan brand. As you can see here, you have the frowny face, the frowny Cactus Jack little guy. You have the Air Jordan 1 Ball and Wings logo, the Nike Air Swoosh logo, as well as Cactus Jack in his Cactus Jack font. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm beyond pleased to present to you the Women's Air Jordan 1 Low Travis Scott Olive. The fifth and final iteration of the Air Jordan 1 Low and Travis Scott collab comes home. I'm super happy to have this shoe, but as I always say, let's talk about the shoe first, and then we're gonna talk about the shoe. On the bottom, you have your standard Air Jordan 1 radial traction pad. Nike Air on the bottom, garbed or draped in that olive colorway. Coming up to the midsole, you have what a lot of people don't like, but I absolutely happen to love, is that sail colorway. Now, a lot of people think that that sail colorway means that the shoe has some kind of vintage to it. I see it and I understand it. A lot of people, especially customizers, were using this kind of sole to, maybe represent some of that age effect. But in this particular case, I like the sail sole because it just blends with the motif and theme of the overall shoe. Moving past the midsole, on the toe box, on the eye stabilizers, the lace straps, the heel, as well as the top of the heel, you have that sail colorway of the Air Jordan 1. This material is a nice smooth leather. I'll try to zoom in just a little bit so you guys can see if there's any kind of tumbleness to it. For the most part, it's a nice smooth leather. I mean, every kind of leather is going to have some kind of, crinkle to it. Just the texture itself it's flesh, right? I mean, it's leather. But at the end of the day, it's a smooth leather, and I don't think there was intended to be any true tumble on the shoe. Now, here's where the shoe really shines. I hate the cliche that shoes are better in hand, but a lot of times, it's true. In this particular case, it's absolutely true. Even though my lighting setup may not actually do it a lot of justice, this suede that's on the shoe is actually a very soft, very supple suede. Hopefully the camera's picking up. There's a lot of motion with this. I mean, it's a really nice suede, and I don't think that pictures, the ones you've seen online, really do this suede justice. It's really nice, really smooth, A+ material in my mind. On the reverse swoosh, which of course is that staple of the Travis Scott collabs, you do have an olive colorway, which is a really smooth suede. I mean, it's even smoother than what's here, and the hair is probably a lot shorter, not leading to a lot of motion, but a nice feeling material nonetheless. You have a standard mesh tongue, nothing different about that, except when you come to the side, you have that co-branding with Cactus Jack and Travis Scott. That's a really nice little tidbit, a nice little tag on the side of the tongue. It's a really nice touch. I actually do like it a lot. On the top of the tongue, you have the black Nike Air tag with the University Red logo. I think that red really, really, really makes this shoe pop, and a nice little touch. Speaking of University Red, on the back of the left shoe, you have the Cactus Jack insignia, or the logo, I should say, with the smiley face on it. And I'll get into why I emphasize that in a minute, but let's continue on with the rest of the shoe. Between the left and the right shoe, there aren't any differences, except where I just showed you on the heel of the right shoe, you have the Air Jordan 1 Ball and Wings logo, like your standard Air Jordan 1 Low. The shoe does come standard with a nice waxy white lace, and you do have 3 additional lace swap options. They include a nice waxy red, a nice waxy black, and a nice waxy olive colorway. Very good choices for this particular motif. Again, I try to zoom in so you guys come here and take a look at this. Now, you might be able to faintly see the Cactus Jack insignia on the swoosh. However, when I go ahead and cut the flash on, you now should see that 3M Cactus Jack insignia reflecting off of the flashlight. On the insole of the shoe, you have several logos. As you can see, you have your Air Jordan in this different kind of font. You have a 23 with flames on it. You have a nice blue. I actually like this color blue for some strange reason, but a nice Cactus Jack in that blue colorway. And of course, the University Red Jumpman. On the other insole, you have the smiley face of the Cactus Jack in red, Nike Air and Sail, a 23 in that kind of Chevron, Citgo, some kind of gas station logo. And I'll tell you why I think that's important in a minute. And of course, Cactus Jack and a new kind of styled logo. As you take a look at both of these insoles, I'm of the impression that the entire theme of this shoe is some kind of motorsport, some kind of racing aspect. If you look at the apparel capsule that dropped, you're gonna see that there's like a racing jacket, I think either some leather pants or some chaps or whatever they are. Again, this is for the ladies, so I think that those items were really race or moto inspired. They took that theme and put it on the insoles of each shoe. As I mentioned in my introduction, this is the 5th and final collab on the Air Jordan 1 Low between Travis Scott and Jordan Brand. If you're unaware, the other colorways include the Air Jordan 1 Low Mocha, the Fragment, the Reverse Mocha, and of course, the Phantom, which came out, I believe, last December. And lastly, the Olive, which makes 5 in totality. Now, Travis Scott has a decently long partnership and collaboration with Brand Jordan. If I'm not mistaken, they worked together sometime around 2017 or 2018 to create their first looks. Some of those looks include the Air Jordan 1 Mocha, the Air Jordan 1 Fragment High, the Air Jordan 4 Oilers colorway, the Air Jordan 6 Military Green or Olive, the Air Jordan 6 British Khaki. There's also a couple of samples out there, as well as some friends and family pairs. There's also additional models out there, including but not limited to Air Max and Air Force Ones. So as far as we know, the next rumored drop to release will be an Air Jordan 7. As of right now, details are still sketchy on that, but there's no telling also what time that shoe's going to drop, but hopefully it'll be just as nice as the rest of the lineup. Now, the thing about the Olive is it kind of released to a less fanfare than what we were used to. Although the Mocha 1 highs weren't initially popular when they caught on, once gasoline got poured on the fire, Travis Scott mania had been lit. So from there on, anything it touched basically became worth its weight in gold. I mean, almost quite literally. Some of his shoes are as high as $1,700 to $2,000. And I think the Fragments may have gotten high as possibly $3,000. I mean, it's almost literally worth its weight in gold. But over time, the last 3 releases, including the Reverse Mocha, the Phantom, and the Olive, seem to have cooled down on the aftermarket compared to their predecessors. While the Reverse Mocha is somewhere hovering around $1,000, the Phantom was less well received to say the least, and somewhere around $600 right now. The Olives are probably somewhere close to $700 and $1,000 depending on your size. Now again, as I always say, this is not a resale channel, but I do like to keep track of the hype and how much the market is dictating what people think these shoes are worth. To me, I see a nice clean colorway, but to you, you may see a quick flip, and that's cool. It's just a little weird that Travis Scott himself, I think he maybe wore this shoe on stage a couple of times, but he's been pretty mum on trying to promote this shoe. I mean, he promoted a lot of these shoes, including the Reverse Mocha, pretty heavy on his personal Instagram and Twitter, but I haven't seen as much, scuttlebutt or promotion on the Olive pair. In addition to that, the full-size run on this pair was a little bit weird. Now, granted, we do know that this is a women's exclusive, and of course, some men just don't wear women's shoes, or some women absolutely abhor men who wear women's shoes. And I get it. I get the sentiment. I really do. Although this shoe is produced and marketed as a women's shoe, there wasn't a whole lot of stock set aside for a women's traditional size. If I'm not mistaken, the bulk of the allocation was between somewhere like a men's 9 and a men's 10, in that kind of size range, which will ultimately be a women's 10.5 to a women's 11.5, I think, something like that. Either way the math shakes out, there wasn't a ton of pairs available for your standard size woman's foot. The reason why I wanted to bring up the smiley face on the back is because during early look phase, because we know early looks come out like 2 years in advance, most of the looks had a frowny face on the back of it. So what we do know is that the sample pairs that initially came out did in fact have a frowny face. But what we also do know is that they don't make a bunch of sample pairs. I mean, that's the point of the sample. So it's a good chance that if you see a whole lot of pairs that have a frowny face on it instead of the retail smiley face, buyer beware. At the end of the day, I think people are just happy to have the Travis Scott mania over with. One thing I will say, however, and don't get me wrong, I'm incredibly happy to have this shoe, as well as all the Travis Scott shoes. Being a collector by nature, as well as a person who likes to wear them for the toe, I'm happy to have these guys. That being said, here's a shoe that may get up as high as $1,200 for an example. Here's a shoe that's about $200. This is the Air Jordan 1 Low Black EXOG. A damn fine shoe if I do say so myself, and about $1,000 less expensive than this also fine shoe. Don't get me wrong, the materials, quality, the theme, the story, blow this one out of the water. But if you're looking for the toe, if you're looking to build a collection, $200, $1,200 over time, give it some time. I mean, make the right call. Don't get me wrong, am I trading this one for this one? No, I'm not trading this one for 10 of these. I'm not trading this one for 20 of these. However, I believe the full-size run is gone. I don't remember any of these restocking with the exception of maybe the British Khaki, or it might have just been late shipments because of the COVID situation. But I think once they're gone, they're gone. And now you're at the mercy of the aftermarket, you're at the mercy of fakes, you're at the mercy of aftermarket prices. Do with that information as you see fit. So what I'm about to do right now is go outside. These things are going straight to the toe. I'm gonna give you some on foot. I'm gonna give you some lace swap options, the ones that came with the laces. And do me a favor, let me know down in the comments, all right? Write down in the comments which one is your favorite color combination. I think I have mine. I think I know what it's gonna be, but I definitely wanna hear yours. So before you guys get out of here, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. You know, if you enjoyed this content, do all that good stuff for me. And until the next review, I have been Jay Shoe Fanatic. I am out of here. Black Snow. Oh, the original cut. There it absolutely is. I might like it better than the 2020 version. So, right, and I had to have